The journey to Snezhnaya is absolutely happening. Paimon is already yapping about how anxious she is, but honestly, after fighting literal dragons and visiting the moon, the squad is carrying total main character energy. The hype to see the Tsaritsa is completely unreal right now. Columbina casually spawns out of nowhere to see everyone off. She immediately starts spilling tea about Sandrone throwing massive shade earlier. The Harbingers are definitely not rolling out the red carpet for this arrival, which is honestly completely expected. Pulling up to Snezhnaya, and it is an absolute frozen nightmare. Paimon faceplants directly into the snow and immediately starts tweaking about the brutal cold. The aesthetic is gorgeous, but surviving this wasteland is definitely going to be an intense struggle for the squad. Trying to snap some cute pictures of the local bears, but the vibe check fails instantly. Paimon starts feeling incredibly heavy and dizzy, proving this is not just a regular winter chill. The snowstorm is getting completely out of hand, forcing a desperate search for shelter. Paimon is literally passing out from the intense weather. The whole situation goes from a fun adventure to pure survival mode in seconds. Finding a safe spot to hide from this unhinged blizzard is the absolute priority before things take a genuinely dark turn. Stumbling upon an abandoned train carriage buried in the snow, it is basically the only option to escape the freezing winds. Exploring the dark interior feels incredibly sketchy, but survival instincts are fully taking over as the search for Paimon continues through the wreckage. Activating a random civilian heater called the Kresnik torch provides some much-needed warmth. It is a total lifesaver, but the panic is still real since Paimon is nowhere to be found. The creepy abandoned train is giving major dystopian horror vibes right now. An ancient AI gadget named the Eye of Grey suddenly boots up and claims it was built to help humanity reach tomorrow. It is serving pure sci-fi dystopia energy. Luckily, it agrees to help scan the area and track down Paimon before she actually freezes. The Eye of Grey unlocks the ability to build temporary ice constructs and heat sources. It is basically turning the survival mission into a full crafting game. Melting through the solid ice blocking the path is the only way to keep moving forward. Collecting Kresnik crystals becomes the main objective. The AI extracts their energy to keep surface temperatures from dropping into the fatal zone. It is a constant hustle just to stay warm while pushing through the absolute frozen nightmare toward the local train station. Piero the Jester randomly pulls up out of the blizzard. He literally rescues Paimon, but refuses to drop any actual lore. He just stares out into the snow with this super anxious expression before dipping. It is incredibly cryptic boss energy that makes zero sense.
Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel.
Paimon finally wakes up completely clueless about the Jester saving her. Since the blizzard is caused by a massive monster, turning back is literally impossible. The only viable move is to fix the abandoned train and push straight ahead to the nearest town. Giving the Eye of Grey a much-needed wipe down after it requests some maintenance. It is hilarious how this super advanced talking gadget just wants to be kept clean. The squad gears up to officially hijack the train and brave the frozen wasteland. Deciding to rely on the old train tracks to escape the brutal weather, the AI calculates a route to the nearby town, giving a massive glimmer of hope. It is time to hit the rails and hope the outdated navigation data does not cause a total disaster. The train navigation completely fails and crashes straight into a terrifying void called the Shadow Realm. It is an absolute nightmare dimension filled with undead Fatui and zero elemental energy. The panic is totally real right now as they desperately search for an exit before being permanently trapped forever. Miraculously arriving in Svetloroz, but the town is absolutely going through it. The Tsaritsa passed Project Stuzha, causing a massive energy crisis. The locals are literally freezing because they cannot afford the insanely overpriced heating crystals. Typical late-stage capitalism nightmare. Meeting Aloysia, a super chill local hunter who offers his cozy cabin so Paimon can finally rest. He casually mentions that corrupt officials are hoarding the town energy supply, which instantly triggers the squad detective mode. Time to expose some incredibly sketchy government deals. Aloysia explains the whole situation with the stolen Kresnik crystals. The town is suffering while someone secretly stockpiles the goods. Teaming up with him to go full stealth mode and track down the corrupt rabbit hoarding all the warmth is the new main mission. Running the stealth mission with Aloysia and his angry dog Tagarin, they are sniffing out the missing heating supplies like absolute pros. Sneaking around the frozen town and uncovering the secret tunnels is giving massive vigilante energy. The corrupt officials are definitely getting caught. Discovering the massive hidden stash of stolen crystals inside the mayor basement, the evidence is completely undeniable. It is wild how these elite officials are literally leaving the regular townspeople to freeze just to line their own pockets. The confrontation is about to be intense. Confronting Shishkin, the two-faced official responsible for the stolen stash, he tries to hit everyone with a massive sob story about his abandoned home village, attempting to justify his greed. It is a completely manipulative move, but the squad is absolutely not buying his excuses. Aloysia totally wrecks Shishkin's narrative using straight-up math. He proves the missing train carriages point directly to a long-term smuggling ring involving the mayor. Math literally saves the day and exposes the entire corrupt operation right in front of the Fatui guards. The corrupt officials get arrested and energy distribution finally normalizes. Aloysia casually drops lore about the Rokot, a secretive rebel group fighting the harsh Snezhnayan system. They are basically anonymous heroes trying to help the regular folks survive the brutal policies of the elite. Taking a quick detour to visit a sweet old lady from Aloysia's abandoned village. She has serious memory issues and still thinks the town is thriving. It is a super tragic but heartwarming moment that highlights how rough life is out in the freezing wilderness. Returning to the cabin to check on Paimon, who is finally starting to recover, catching her up on all the intense vigilante justice that just went down. The squad is totally ready to get moving again once the train station opens back up for business. Explaining the ultimate goal of meeting the Tsaritsa to Aloysia, unfortunately she is currently off fighting a massive weather-controlling monster, so a quick meetup is completely impossible. The new objective is repairing the crashed train and heading straight to the capital for answers. Aloysia hooks the squad up with an updated railway map, doing a final diagnostic check on the Eye of Grey to ensure the train will not immediately self-destruct. Everything seems perfectly fine, but trusting this ancient tech still feels incredibly risky and chaotic. The train suddenly phases back into the highly cursed Shadow Realm. It is an absolute nightmare dimension filled with undead Fatui and zero elemental energy. The panic is totally real right now as they desperately search for an exit before being permanently trapped forever. The Eye of Grey completely clutches up by constructing an actual firearm. Since elemental powers are totally disabled, it is time to go full shooter mode. Blasting through hordes of shadow monsters is honestly the most unhinged and unexpected gameplay shift ever. Pushing aggressively through the dark tunnels, dodging obstacles and blowing up barricades. The undead enemies just keep swarming, making every single bullet count. It is an incredibly intense survival sequence, relying purely on aim and raw reflexes to navigate the terrifying void. Using a grappling hook to swing across massive gaps and sliding through narrow paths, the mobility upgrades are totally carrying the run. The exit bubble is finally visible, but an insane amount of shadow monsters are blocking the final stretch. Barely escaping the Shadow Realm before it completely collapses. The Eye of Grey somehow uses the dimensional shift to upgrade the train into an incredibly sleek modern model. The level of chaotic luck keeping the squad alive right now is absolutely off the charts. Arriving at the Snezhnograd train station, and the architecture is absolutely breathtaking. The massive hub is bustling with different fey creatures, proving the old legends are totally real. It is a completely majestic sight that makes all the previous suffering totally worth it. Taking a quick tour of Snezhnograd with Aloysia, the city is stunning, but the prices are completely ridiculous. The massive wealth gap is super obvious. The immediate priority is getting Paimon to a doctor before even thinking about exploring the fancy downtown areas. Settling into a highly overpriced inn because Paimon refuses to sleep anywhere sketchy, the squad decides to just take the financial hit. Dr. Lunva arrives, confirms it is just a stubborn cold, and orders strict bed rest. The epic adventure is officially on pause. Leaving Paimon to rest while plotting a totally bold move to sneak into the Fatui headquarters. With the Tsaritsa out of town, getting answers from the Harbingers is the only viable option. Walking straight up to their elite base carries absolute main character energy. The Glupov guards completely reject the walk-in appointment. Suddenly, Sandrone the marionette spawns and saves the day. She complains about missing her tea time, but still agrees to take the Traveler to a fancy bookstore cafe. The vibes are incredibly tense but classy. Sitting down for tea, Sandrone casually starts dropping massive lore bombs. She explains how Capitano leaving for Natlan caused a huge power vacuum, leading to Tartaglia taking over his troops. The internal political drama among the Harbingers is absolutely messy and fascinating. Sandrone explains that Capitano actually respected Tartaglia purity and potential, choosing him specifically to prevent corrupt elites from stealing his army. It is a huge moment of character development for Childe, showing he is stepping up to play the intense political games of the Veta. The conversation shifts to Pulcinella and the messy government council. Sandrone makes it clear that the Veta is a total battlefield of conflicting interests. The elites are basically constantly fighting over resources, while Project Stuja ruins the lives of regular citizens. The tea session gets completely ruined by an emergency call. A massive mining rig collapsed in a nearby town, trapping workers with a highly aggressive monster. Sandrone immediately switches into serious boss mode, dragging the Traveler along to help fix the disaster. Sprinting into the frozen cave alongside Odette, a famous ballerina who is also a rising Fatui star, they completely speedrun the rescue mission, fighting off the terrifying shadow monster to save the trapped miners. Odette's combat skills are absolutely fierce and highly coordinated. After the successful rescue, Odette introduces herself properly. Sandrone casually mentions that Odette is literally La Signora Protégée and is on track to inherit her title. The lore implications are wild, especially considering the Traveler history with Signora. The tension is definitely lingering. Bumping into Tartaglia outside, he tries to defend Project Stuja, claiming the Tsaritsa has a massive long-term vision that justifies the brutal short-term suffering. He is clearly stressed out trying to balance his morals with the intense political reality of his job. Tartaglia insists that he and Sandrone are constantly fighting for the regular people during the Veta sessions, even if they cannot officially oppose the Tsaritsa. It proves the Harbingers are not just blind followers, but are actually trying to minimize the absolute chaos of the project. The awkward history regarding La Signora finally gets brought up. Odette is clearly still processing her complex feelings about her former master. Sandrone advises giving her time to work through the trauma. The emotional baggage the Harbingers carry is honestly incredibly heavy. Returning to the city and testing out the mysterious sword found earlier, it somehow reacts to the statue of the Seven, absorbing cryo-energy and becoming visibly stronger. Unlocking this new power-up feels like a major key for the upcoming battles in Snezhnaya. Meeting up with Odette to buy emergency heating crystals for the struggling miners, she completely drops her strict Fatui persona and uses her official budget to help the locals. It is a huge vibe shift, showing she genuinely cares about the regular citizens. Odette and Aloysia casually trauma bond over their shared frustration with the corrupt system. The tension from the rescue mission totally fades away. They agree that doing the right thing matters more than official titles, setting up a solid alliance for the upcoming rebel operations. Checking on Paimon, who is feeling way better, but still has lingering chills, Odette totally clutches up by giving her a Core Ignis, a magical, ever-burning flame trapped in ice. It instantly cures the cold and shows Odette is actually incredibly sweet. Odette invites the squad to watch her ballet troupe perform. Pulling up to the super fancy theater with VIP tickets feels incredibly classy. Aloysia points out a suspicious military guard named Valerie, hinting that there is some serious underground drama happening backstage. Meeting Vodianita, the prima donna of the ballet troupe, Aloysia secretly reveals she is a major player in the Rokot Rebel group. They are using the theater as a front to gather intel and plot against the corrupt elites running Project Stuja. Aloysia confirms the Traveler is officially approved to join the Rokot. The rebel group operates on strict anonymity, meaning members can fight the system without exposing their true identities. It is giving massive undercover vigilante energy, completely bypassing the messy Fatui politics. Vodianita goes on an absolute rant about Chugunov, a super-entitled factory owner who hoards VIP tickets and mistreats his workers. The Rokot needs evidence that his factory is illegally draining the city energy supply, making him their current primary target for takedown. The squad plots a stealth operation to interrogate Mitya, a brilliant but super awkward energy scientist. They plan to trick him into investigating Chugunov factory by dropping fake hints during a casual tea session. The undercover manipulation tactics are honestly incredibly smart. Vodianita casually corners Mitya while the Traveler and Aloysia eavesdrop nearby. She absolutely roasts him for not paying attention during her performance, using the awkward tension to pivot the conversation straight into complaining about Chugunov corrupt factory practices. Mitya takes the bait and completely spills the tea. He reveals the Armory Palace is researching a brand new energy source using massive amounts of crystals. He casually mentions the researchers are suffering from severe memory loss, which sounds incredibly sketchy and highly dangerous. The military guard Valerie suddenly interrupts the tea session, forcing Mitya to return to work exactly on schedule. The precision of the interruption proves the Fatui are keeping Mitya on a ridiculously tight leash. The secrets hidden in the Armory Palace are definitely massive. Sneaking into the highly secure Veta Council session to gather more intel, the room is filled with Snezhnaya elite politicians fiercely debating the extension of Project Stuja. It is pure political theater, with everyone pushing their own selfish agendas while pretending to care. Tartaglia and Pantalone get into a massive verbal sparring match over resource distribution. The tension is absolutely wild. Pantalone uses slick corporate speak to defend the status quo, while Tartaglia aggressively demands better conditions for the soldiers and regular citizens struggling to survive. The politicians start blaming the anonymous rebel leader Lilik for threatening council members and flipping votes. Lilik is basically living completely rent-free in their heads, proving the Rokot guerrilla tactics are actually causing massive disruptions in the corrupt government system. The final vote drops, and Chugunov completely shocks everyone by voting against the project. The margin is incredibly tight. It is super obvious Lilik got to him and forced the flip. The underground rebel influence is absolutely shifting the entire political landscape. Regrouping with Tartaglia and Sandrone to review the classified files on Lilik. This anonymous rebel is basically a ghost, slipping into high-security mansions without a trace. The Harbingers are totally stumped, realizing Lilik possesses insanely elite counter-surveillance and infiltration skills. The squad connects the dots and theorizes that Odette might actually be Lilik. Her elite Fatui training makes her the perfect candidate. Plus, Her tragic backstory involving her father's death during the early stages of Project Stuzha gives her the ultimate motivation for revenge. Paimon agrees the theory makes total sense. If Odette is Lilac, she must know the actual dark truth behind the Tsaritsa Energy Project. The plan is to confront her after the theater rehearsal and finally get some transparent answers about her rebel activities. Arriving at the theater for the exclusive preview show, the weather suddenly shifts into an incredibly violent and unnatural blizzard. The vibe immediately goes from a classy night out to something feeling deeply ominous and cursed. The elite audience members are completely oblivious. Spotting a sick girl in the audience and assuming she is Tartaglia's sister, Tonya. She seems super sweet but is coughing heavily. Meanwhile, Mitya tries to convince Valerie to relax and enjoy the delay, but the guard is remaining intensely strict about their schedule. The blizzard traps everyone inside the theater. Valerie starts losing his mind when the military extraction team fails to show up. A random guy who stepped outside to grab blankets literally vanishes into thin air. The realization that they are completely trapped finally sets in. The theater staff officially announces a total lockdown. The rich elites, including Chugunov, start throwing massive tantrums, while a creepy mercenary named Shram casually jokes about tying people up. The claustrophobic tension is rising fast as everyone prepares to sleep in the lobby. The night passes with everyone incredibly stressed out. The mercenary Shram keeps yapping to Chugunov, creating a super weird dynamic. The whole situation feels like the setup for an intense survival horror game, where the paranoia is just constantly building in the background. Trying to confront Odette backstage about the Lilac theory, but she completely ignores the hints. The mood is super heavy. With the unnatural blizzard raging outside, the priority shifts from investigating rebel secrets to literally just surviving the night in this creepy theater. Waking up to a total nightmare, 2 theater workers are found completely dead in a back room with zero signs of struggle or poison. The panic immediately spikes. It is an impossible locked room mystery, and everyone realizes a silent killer is trapped inside with them. Chugunov immediately loses his mind and accuses Lilac of committing the murders to threaten him. He admits Lilac previously broke into his house, fueling his absolute paranoia. The elite factory owner is completely spiraling, pointing fingers and screaming for the rebel leader to reveal themselves. The group starts heavily suspecting Odette. The logic actually points to her since she has the skills to pull off a silent assassination. The tension is incredibly thick. The Traveler decides to stay quiet, not wanting to throw Odette under the bus without solid proof. Odette completely shifts the dynamic by casually admitting she is Lilac. She drops the massive secret right in front of the military guard, stating she only confessed so the real murderer cannot use her as a scapegoat. It is an absolutely flawless and purely rational boss move. During the tense night watch, Odette totally opens up about her deeply traumatic past. She explains how La Signora forced her into brutal Fatui training as a child. Her dedication to ballet was essentially a desperate, silent rebellion against the miserable fate forced upon her. Sharing theories with Odette about Paimon mystery illness. Suspecting the new energy source from Project Stuzha is the root cause, Odette reveals the energy is meant to power a massive superweapon called Mistletoe, designed for an apocalyptic final battle. The lore implications are absolutely massive. The second morning arrives with absolute horror. 2 more innocent people are found dead right on the main stage. The realization hits that the night watch was completely useless. The killer is striking invisibly, and the entire group is basically waiting to be slaughtered next. Vodianita fiercely defends Lilac, pointing out the victims were just regular innocent people, completely contradicting the rebel motives. Chugunov continues his unhinged accusations. The internal group dynamics are totally fracturing as the paranoia and sheer terror push everyone to their absolute breaking point. Discovering an ancient investigation report claiming the theater is literally haunted due to a massive blockage in the ley lines. Apparently, souls are getting trapped in the building instead of passing on. The entire murder mystery suddenly flips into a deeply cursed paranormal nightmare. Mitya connects the paranormal clues and publicly questions the mercenary Shram. It turns out nobody actually checked his ticket, and his slang references a 400-year-old civil war. The horrifying realization hits that Shram is literally a ghost who completely forgot he was dead. The reality of his death finally crashes down on Shram. He remembers dying while trying to protect his water imp lover centuries ago. Accepting his tragic fate, he bravely walks out into the unnatural blizzard to let the ley lines finally take his soul. Odette privately admits she broke into the Armory Palace a week ago and found Mitya completely dead, yet somehow he is currently walking around the theater alive. The group realizes the curse of death has utterly broken the standard rules of mortality and logic. Mitya figures out the terrifying truth. The researchers' missing memories were actually moments when they temporarily died and resurrected. His brilliant scientific mind pieces together that the curse of death is basically an infinite loop of dying and respawning whenever they make technological progress. Waking up after the third night to find the strict military guard Valeri dead. Since he was awake keeping watch, it proves the deaths are completely unavoidable. The group calculates that the ley lines are forcibly swallowing souls every night to balance a supernatural quota. Mitya makes the ultimate scientific gamble, realizing he might be the other dead soul causing the nightly quota. He decides to walk out into the blizzard. He sacrifices himself to test the resurrection theory, hoping to bring back the absolute truth of this cursed phenomenon. Watching Mitya fade into the frozen wasteland is incredibly grim. The remaining survivors are completely traumatized and losing hope. The atmosphere is totally bleak, as everyone accepts that surviving this nightmare is purely based on random luck and surviving the nightly ley line purge. The traveler falls asleep and gets dragged into a terrifying nightmare sequence. Hunted by a shadowy spirit called Night Prayer, survival requires desperately running between light sources. It is an intense, pulse-pounding horror sequence, representing the soul struggling against the absolute darkness of death. Waking up to another grim morning, Chugunov is finally exposed for lying about Tonya. The sweet girl everyone thought was Tartaglia's sister is actually a completely different person. The web of lies is unraveling, and the final missing dead soul is about to be revealed. The fake Tonya confesses her real name is Pashka. She tragically died from a terminal illness called snow cough years ago. Chugunov lied to protect her because she reminded him of his own dead daughter. It is an absolutely heart-wrenching and deeply tragic revelation. Pashka peacefully walks into the storm, accepting her fate. Suddenly, Mitya stumbles back into the theater. He explains that Vodianita's beautiful requiem song actually guided his soul back. The group is completely stunned as Mitya prepares to drop the final horrifying truth of the blizzard. Mitya reveals the absolute worst-case scenario. The blizzard outside is a pure void. Everyone in the theater is already dead. They all died days ago, and their souls are just trapped in this ley line glitch. The entire survival struggle was a completely pointless illusion. The traveler realizes the cryptic death notes were planted by the Grim Reaper, who has been hiding among them the entire time. Calling out Aloysia, the friendly hunter drops his disguise and reveals himself as Renova, the ruler of death. The ultimate betrayal is finally exposed. Renova casually explains she gatekeeps technological progress for Celestia. The massive deaths were just her enforcing the curse to stop the Armory Palace research. She trapped their souls in the theater purely for her own twisted entertainment. She is serving absolute peak villain arrogance. Furious at being treated like literal playthings, the traveler attacks Renova. The intense battle shatters the illusion, and the traveler suddenly wakes up back in reality. The entire multi-day theater nightmare was basically a prolonged, highly cursed amnesia sequence caused by Renova death reset. Sprinting back to the inn with Odette, only to find Paimon completely missing. The guards confess that Piero the Jester casually walked in and kidnapped her while she slept. The panic hits critical levels. The new mission is breaking into the highest security, Fatui base, immediately. Infiltrating the incredibly secretive Armory Palace, the underground facility is packed with ancient, highly advanced technology. Slashing through the elite robotic defenses with Odette feels incredibly epic. They are completely determined to rip through whatever experiments the Jester is running and save Paimon. Bursting into the main lab just as Renova strikes again, triggering the curse of death. The Traveler survives the reset and finally reunites with a fully healed Paimon. Piero casually explains he cured her and officially suspends the dangerous energy project to focus on eliminating Renova. Piero drops the most insane lore dump yet. Project Mistletoe is a massive superweapon fueled by anti-Celestia energy. The Tsaritsa is literally planning an apocalyptic war against the heavenly principles to destroy the curses governing Teyvat, even if it risks completely annihilating the world. The absolute biggest plot twist of the journey. Piero reveals Paimon is a literal creation of Celestia. He summoned her during the Kainraya cataclysm 500 years ago. Paimon has zero memory of this, but the Traveler immediately promises to protect her regardless of her origin. The tension finally breaks as Odette performs her legendary ballet. She honors her mother legacy and finally moves past the trauma inflicted by La Signora. Sandrone watches silently from the shadows, providing a surprisingly beautiful and poetic closure to the intense Harbinger drama. The squad meets up with Tartaglia and the actual real Tonia in the bustling city plaza. The intense survival horror is officially over. Paimon is fully recovered, dragging everyone around to buy cute plushies. The crew is totally refreshed and ready for whatever Snezhnaya brings next.
Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.